Here are the top 5 things that I learned while being a vendor through 2025. Hopefully you can learn from some of my mistakes, be able to make adjustments for yourself. Let's get into them. Number 1 thing is price literally every single thing you have at your table. The number 1 thing that I dislike when I walk shows is that people do not have prices on everything, and that just creates price friction, and people are most likely going to walk away from your table if they don't see anything. And the reason being is because this creates a psychological barrier called price friction. Now, if you create barriers between the potential customers and the item that they're looking to buy, they're more likely to walk away just because they don't see prices. And as well, if you have multiple people at your table and you're taking in cards from a trade and you're comping out cards there, you have 2 to 3 other people at your table trying to buy cards and they're flipping through your binders and they're asking you what those prices are. If you don't have prices there, you're going to have to take your time away from comping those cards and trying to look up comps for these, or even some of the sealed items that you might have. And if you don't have those available or ready on hand, people are more likely to walk away and you just lost those potential sales. So have everything priced. It doesn't make any sense to not do it. And that goes for everything in your low end binders. Even if it's a $1 to $2 card, price it, or just put a sticker on it. That way you know mentally what that's supposed to sell for. And you can price these a week ahead of time and you'll be just fine. Those prices aren't going to skyrocket overnight. And if they do, big hoop. You're probably going to be like maybe 50 cents to $1 difference, but it's no sweat. It's a binder card anyway. So just price everything and just get rid of that extra friction between the potential customer and your item. Price your cards. Now, the next thing is have payment info ready to go. And what I mean by this, if you take wireless payments from Zelle, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, have all those printed out and ready to go, because the biggest headache is going to be, again, if you're doing all this on one phone and you don't have any help or you have another device to help comp all these items, then you're going to be flipping back and forth between applications on your phone. You're going to drain your battery and it's just going to be a nightmare and a headache. So the simplest thing you can do is print it out and make something like this. So with this one, it just has every payment option that I accept on one little sheet here, and I just put it on my table and just let people scan it, and it's the easiest thing you can do. Now, it doesn't have to be as fancy as that. You can just do a plain sheet of paper, or if you have a laminator, use it so that way you can just carry it from show to show. It is one of the easiest things you can do. If you're making a lot of sales or you're pricing something out and you're looking up comps, you don't need to be swiping between apps to try to get to your Zelle and then go back to a TCG player or something like that. Have that on hand. It's perfect, and it saves so much time for everybody. Point number 3 is be yourself, be authentic, and you have to be passionate for what you're doing. At a lot of these shows, you're going to be here for about 8 to 12 hours. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit draining and a little bit boring at times, but at the same time, just have fun that you're being there, especially on shows that you had to fight to get your name on that list. I know for me, the H-Town card show that I did a few weeks ago, it's not easy to get into that show. So I was excited. I was pumped. I was so happy to be there. I was grateful to be there because that's a big show. So at least just kind of look like you're having fun. Pretend, fake it till you make it, whatever you have to put into your mind to get you through the day. Just to be passionate about what you're doing. And if you're just looking to flip and sell stuff and you're just firm on your prices and you just have like a bad attitude, people can feel that energy and they're most likely not going to buy from you. I know how I am. If you can't really hold a conversation, or if you just kind of act like an asshole, a lot of people don't want to deal with it unless they really need something from you, and then they're just going to buy and go. Like for me, the way I look at it is like, I'm trying to build a community. I'm trying to build a business. Like I want to have that personal connection with people that buy from me. I try to remember their names as best as I can. So that way you just have that little added personal touch. So just be like, I don't know, just be happy that you be there. It's a good time. Get to know the vendors around you, and just if you have help and you have a chance to walk the floor, it's even more fun. So just have a good time. That's all I got to say about that. Another huge thing is learning how to find comps. Now, everybody has their own way of looking up comps, but just kind of find out what works for you. For me, I've learned that TCG player is going to be the best for modern, probably for the last 8 to 10 years, works really well. eBay last sales, if you're looking for anything older than that, like mid-era, vintage, that kind of stuff. For slabs, I'm not the person to really know much about it because I don't sell slabs just yet. It's like once I get my PSA return, I might do more of that. But for what I've learned and what I've seen out there, it's alt's probably going to be the number one. eBay last sold another one. 130 point has some good data, especially for those that are like best offers that were sold on eBay. Kind of find out what works best for you. And if you run into a point to where like you have a card that's a little bit more niche and it's not quite available on TCG Player or eBay, the best thing is just to find averages amongst all of them. So that way you have a better idea and a more accurate pricing. And that's the main thing, right? Is just make sure you're pricing things accurately. You don't want to be super well above market. You don't want to be well below because you don't want to lose money or lose opportunity on some of your margins. So I would say just try to find what you're comfortable with and what that average falls into. Now, I noticed I didn't really mention price charting because price charting is kind of behind on a lot of things too. So I like to use it for more like bulk cards. So like if I have, like for me, I have a lot of Gym Challenge and Gym Heroes or more vintage bulk cards, commons and uncommons, and they still have some good relative value, right? So I like going through price charting because it still pulls pretty consistent data from eBay last sold. And I think it works out well for me because I can just kind of scroll down the list and check some if it doesn't seem right. Like some of the cards you'll see like first edition and unlimited have like relatively close values. So I like to kind of go back and look into eBay and kind of see where those cards align and then kind of go from there. But again, it's kind of a hit and miss. You're not going to be 100% accurate all the time. And as well too, like the price may change from the night before when you price it to the very next morning when you actually show up at the show. So the biggest thing is to, when you're kind of setting up, if you have some free time, kind of check some comps on more of the popular cards and see if anything adjusted. And so when it comes to sealed product as well, TCG Player and eBay Last Solds are probably the only two that I'm ever going to use. And with TCG Player, I don't really like to use it 100% of the time because it is a data aggregator from eBay, but a lot of times those numbers do not match up, especially if there's a high volume of sales. TCG Player does not always pull that data correctly from eBay, and it more just focuses on the inventory that is in TCG Player. So this is especially important when things are being sold at a high volume and there's a lot of price fluctuations, because a lot of times the TCG Player sealed price is not going to be 100% accurate versus eBay Last Solds, because eBay Last Solds are pretty much right then and there and accurate, and there could be like 10 to 15 listings that sold at one price, and on TCG Player it hasn't sold for that price yet. So it's kind of figure out where you're comfortable with the price, but to where it's not like unrealistic. The last thing is be comfortable with negotiating. Negotiating is going to be a huge part of your game when you're at any of these vendor shows. And that's kind of the art of it too. I used to work in sales. I enjoy that aspect of selling and just kind of that little back and forth banter when it comes to getting the price and margins that you want. And just don't be so stern on your prices, right? I mean, a lot of the customers you're going to have are just going to be average collectors looking to find specific cards that they like, complete a master set, stuff like that. So have some wiggle room that you're okay with. And most vendors are okay with taking about 5 to 10% off of market if you're looking for singles. Now, if someone comes up to you and you have a $10 card and they're asking for 6, I'm not saying do that. But if they're buying multiple cards from you, or it's a person that bought from you before, I would say just kind of work and give them a little bit of a deal for that. And when it comes to bigger sales, like don't lose a sale over $10, because odds are you probably have a decent margin already on that card, especially if you got it from a collection you got off of somebody, because odds are you probably have a 20 to 30% margin already baked in. $10 is probably not going to break you. So be good at negotiating, be comfortable with negotiating, but also just don't be so firm on your prices on it. You're trying to have fun. Yeah, you're trying to make a buck while you're doing it as well, but it's not that big a deal majority of the time. And last little final thoughts on some tips and lessons that I learned is always have backup batteries, especially if you are recording some of your content, whether it be like an extra camera or phone or whatever. Always bring a backup battery, maybe even 2, because you're definitely going to need it. And odds are you're probably not at a booth that is going to have an electrical outlet behind you. Bring water and food. You're going to be there for a very long time. I've definitely made the mistake of not having enough food, and I didn't have any snacks with me. And so you would go probably like 8 to 10 hours without having any kind of food. So definitely bring something with you, even if it's in like a small cooler. And last little point, because I thought this was very important, because I made this mistake many times, is when you price your cards, put the price tag on the side of where the name is. Because if you don't and you happen to put it on the other side, you're kind of covering up what the card actually is. So yeah, unless people know what the artwork is, it's going to look like this, and they're not going to know exactly what Pokemon it is. So if you stack all your cards up like this, it's going to cover half and most of the important part of the card. But if you change it the other way, you're able to see the name of the Pokemon, most of the art, and the price all at the same time. It's little, but it probably makes a big difference. I don't know for sure whether or not this is important, but for me, it's like almost a no-brainer. Put it on the same side of the name, because otherwise you may miss out on some sales because people don't know what they're looking at. But other than that, that is the 5 lessons that I learned over the last 3 vendor shows that I did. Hopefully some of this information can help you out on your journey. Let me know down in the comments below some other lessons that you may have learned if you just recently started vending. And also, shameless plug, the Pokebaron.com is now live. Visit my online store. The link is in the description as well. Feel free to visit the site. If you purchase an item, that'd be pretty cool. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you guys next time.